In a quiet African village, surrounded by tall palm trees and red earth roads, lived two sisters named Favour and Glory. Their father had died when they were still small, leaving their mother to raise them alone. Life was not easy, but the family survived by farming and selling vegetables at the market. Favour, the elder sister, was gentle, hardworking, and kind to everyone she met. Each morning, before the sun rose high, she fetched water from the river, swept the compound, and helped her mother cook food. Even when she was tired, she never complained. Glory, on the other hand, was very different. She was younger, but her heart was filled with pride. She hated chores and often made excuses. She would sit in the shade while Favour worked under the hot sun. If their mother asked her to help, she would frown and say, "Why must I suffer like a servant? Let Favour do it. She likes to work." The villagers noticed the difference between the two sisters. They often praised Favour for her kindness, but they shook their heads at Glory's laziness. Still, Favour loved her sister dearly and never spoke harshly to her. She hoped that one day Glory would change. Beyond their village flowed a wide river, shining like glass under the sun. It was the lifeline of the people. Every woman fetched water from it, every child bathed in it, and fishermen cast their nets in its deep waters. Yet the river was more than just water. The elders whispered that a spirit lived inside it, an ancient being who watched the people closely. The spirit was said to be powerful. Some stories claimed it could bless a person with riches, wisdom, or peace. Other stories warned that it could curse the greedy, the proud, and the unkind. Children often gathered under the moonlight to hear the elders tell tales of how the river spirit rewarded those with pure hearts, but punished those who came with deceit. Glory laughed whenever she heard such tales. "They are only stories to frighten children," she would say. But Favour listened carefully. Deep in her heart, she believed the stories carried truth. One hot afternoon, their mother sent Favour to fetch water. The clay pot balanced on her head as she walked the long path to the river. Birds sang in the trees, and the sound of insects filled the air. When she reached the riverbank, she knelt and dipped her pot into the cool water. Suddenly, the water rippled though there was no wind. Favour looked up, surprised. The ripples grew larger, spreading like circles of light. Before her eyes, the water rose as if it was alive, swirling into a tall, shining form. From the middle of the river appeared a beautiful woman. Her skin glowed like the moon, and her eyes sparkled like stars. Her hair flowed like streams of water down her shoulders, and her voice was gentle yet powerful. "Do not be afraid, child," the figure said. "I am the spirit of this river." Favour's hands trembled, and the clay pot almost slipped from her head. She had heard the elders' stories, but she never thought she would meet the spirit face to face. She knelt quickly and bowed her head. "Great Spirit, forgive me. I did not mean to disturb you." The spirit smiled. "You have not disturbed me, Favour. I have watched you many times. I have seen your kindness, your humility, and your heart of love. You respect your mother, you work with joy, and you never despise others. Such a heart is rare." Favour lifted her head slowly, still in awe. "Thank you, Great Spirit. But I am only an ordinary girl." The spirit's voice grew soft like the flowing water. "You are not ordinary. Tonight, when the moon rises, come back here alone. I wish to bless you." Favour's eyes widened. "Bless me? But why me?" "Because your heart is pure," the spirit replied. "But remember, only those who are sincere can receive my gifts. Do not speak of this to anyone, not even your sister. If you are faithful, you will understand why when the time comes." With those words, the river spirit sank back into the water, and the ripples faded away. The river returned to its quiet flow as if nothing had happened. For a long moment, Favour remained kneeling by the water, her heart beating fast. She wondered if she had dreamed it all, but the memory of the glowing figure and the gentle voice was too real to be a dream. Carefully, she filled her clay pot and walked home, her mind full of questions. When she arrived, Glory was sitting under the mango tree, chewing roasted corn. She glanced at her sister and frowned. "Why did you take so long? Were you sleeping by the river?" Favour smiled faintly and shook her head. "No, I was only thinking." She wanted to tell her sister what had happened, but the spirit's warning echoed in her ears. "Do not speak of this to anyone." So she kept silent. That night, after supper, the moon rose full and bright, lighting the earth like silver. Favour lay awake on her mat, her heart beating with both fear and excitement. She knew she had to keep her promise and return to the river. Quietly, she rose, tied her wrapper firmly, and slipped out of the house. The night air was cool, and the crickets sang as she walked. The path to the river looked different in the moonlight, but she pressed on. When she reached the bank, the water shimmered like glass. Suddenly, the surface rippled, and once again the spirit rose, brighter and more beautiful than before. "Welcome, child," the spirit said. "You have come as I asked. Tonight, your life will change forever." Favour bowed low, her heart racing. She had no idea what awaited her, but she knew one thing. The river spirit had chosen her for a reason. And so, under the silver light of the moon, the first step of Favour's destiny began.
The river glowed under the full moon as Favour stood silently, her heart beating fast. The spirit's presence filled the air with power and peace. The water moved like silver threads, and fireflies danced above the reeds. The spirit looked at her with kind eyes. "Favour, I told you that I have watched your ways. You are faithful, hard-working, and kind. Such hearts are rare among humans. Because of this, I will bless you." Favour bowed low. "Great Spirit, I am only a poor girl. I do not deserve such honor." The spirit's smile was warm. "True humility is the reason you are worthy. But first, I must test your heart." The spirit lifted her hand, and suddenly the ground at Favour's feet opened, revealing 2 calabashes. One was small, plain, and old. The other was large, beautiful, and decorated with gold carvings. The spirit spoke gently. "Take one, child. But remember, the value of a gift is not in its beauty, but in its purpose." Favour looked at the 2 calabashes. The golden one sparkled in the moonlight. Anyone would be tempted to choose it, but her heart told her otherwise. She touched the small, plain calabash. "This one, Great Spirit." The spirit's eyes shone with delight. "You have chosen well. This calabash will never run dry. Whatever food your family needs, rice, yam, beans, meat, it will always provide. But you must share it with others. Do not use it for selfishness." Favour gasped. She had never dreamed of such a gift. She knelt and thanked the spirit deeply. But the spirit was not finished. She lifted her other hand, and a necklace of bright blue stones appeared, floating in the air. The stones glowed softly, like stars trapped in glass. "This necklace," the spirit said, "carries the gift of peace. Whenever you wear it, quarrels will end, and hearts will soften. Wherever there is hatred, love will grow. Use it wisely, for peace is more precious than gold." Tears filled Favour's eyes as she received the necklace. "Thank you, Great Spirit. I will use it with care." Finally, the spirit placed her palm on Favour's forehead. A cool wave of energy flowed into her mind. "I give you wisdom, child. From this night, your words will carry power. People will listen to you, and your advice will guide them like light in darkness. But remember, wisdom is not for pride. It is for service." Favour bowed her head again, trembling at the greatness of the gifts. "I will not forget your words. I will use these gifts to help others." The spirit's form began to fade into the glowing river. "Go now, Favour. Your journey has only begun. And remember, do not boast of these blessings. Those with greedy hearts must never know how they were given." When the spirit disappeared, the river became still again. The night was quiet, but Favour's heart was alive with joy. She held the calabash carefully and wore the necklace around her neck. With every step home, she felt lighter, as though the world itself had changed. Back in the village, her mother sat awake, worried. "Favour, where have you been at this late hour?" she asked as soon as she saw her daughter enter the compound. Favour smiled and set the plain calabash down. "Mama, I went to fetch water, but I also found something special. Please, bring a plate." Her mother frowned, confused, but obeyed. When Favour opened the calabash, it filled instantly with steaming hot yam porridge, rich with fish and palm oil. The aroma filled the air, making her mother's eyes widen in shock. "Chinik, how is this possible?" her mother whispered. Favour only smiled. "It is a gift, Mama. We will never go hungry again." Her mother, though still confused, thanked God and wept with joy. That night they ate until their stomachs were full, something they had not done in months. The next morning, Favour went to the market wearing her glowing blue necklace. On the way, she met 2 neighbors who were quarreling bitterly over farmland. Their voices were loud, and people gathered to watch. Favour stepped between them gently. "Brothers," she said softly, "land is not worth more than peace. A village divided will only bring hunger. Share what you have, and your children will prosper." As she spoke, the quarreling men felt their anger vanish. Their faces softened, and soon they agreed to share the land equally. The crowd murmured in amazement. They could not understand how such a young girl could bring peace so easily. From that day, people began to respect Favour deeply. They came to her for advice, and they listened carefully to her words. Each evening, she and her mother used the calabash to feed not only themselves but also the hungry children in the village. Soon, everyone knew that Favour carried a special blessing. But not everyone was happy. Glory, her younger sister, watched with growing envy. At first, she was glad to eat from the calabash and enjoy the rich food. But as the days passed, jealousy filled her heart. She saw how the villagers praised Favour, how they came to her for wisdom, and how her name was spoken with honor. One afternoon, she pulled Favour aside. "Tell me the truth," she demanded. "Where did you get that calabash? And that necklace? And why do people suddenly listen to you as if you are an elder?" Favour hesitated. The spirit had warned her not to boast, but she did not want to lie. She touched her sister's hand gently. "Glory, these gifts came because of kindness and humility. If you live with love, blessings will come your way too." But Glory frowned. "That is not enough. I want what you have. I want my own calabash, my own necklace, my own power. Tell me where you got them." Favour sighed, shaking her head. "It is not by force, Glory. Only a pure heart can receive true blessings." Glory turned away angrily, her eyes burning with jealousy. She told herself that somehow she would find the river spirit and demand her own gifts, no matter the cost. And so, while Favour used her blessings to serve others, Glory's heart grew darker with envy. The stage was being set for a test that would change both sisters forever. Days passed, and Favour's life was filled with joy. She used the magical calabash to feed the hungry, the necklace to bring peace wherever she went, and her wisdom to guide the villagers. Everyone respected her, and even elders came to listen when she spoke. But while the people celebrated Favour, her sister Glory grew restless. Jealousy burned in her heart like fire. Each time she saw Favour surrounded by grateful villagers, she clenched her fists. She wanted the same respect, the same power, and the same gifts. One evening, when their mother was asleep, Glory whispered to Favour, "Sister, take me to the river spirit. I want to meet her too." Favour shook her head gently. "Glory, it is not about wanting. The spirit chooses who to bless. It is about the heart, not desire." But Glory stamped her foot. "That is not fair. Why should only you be blessed? Am I not your sister? If the spirit gave to you, she must give to me too." Favour sighed. "Please, Glory, do not let greed blind you. If you want blessings, start by showing kindness and humility. That is what the spirit values." But Glory's ears were closed. That same night, while Favour and their mother slept, Glory slipped out of the house. The moon was bright, and she walked quickly toward the river, her mind filled with determination. When she reached the bank, the water was calm. She called out loudly, "River spirit, come out. I am here to receive my gifts." At first, there was silence. Then the water began to ripple, and the beautiful spirit rose, glowing in the moonlight. But her eyes were not soft this time. They were sharp, as if she could see straight into Glory's heart. "Why have you come, Glory?" the spirit asked. Glory tried to kneel, but her pride showed in her eyes. "I have come for my blessings. I am Favour's sister. If you gave to her, then you must give to me too. I also want a calabash, a necklace, and wisdom." The spirit's voice was calm but stern. "Blessings are not given by demand. They are rewards for a pure heart. Tell me, Glory, do you help your mother as your sister does? Do you share with others? Do you show humility?" Glory looked down, but her tongue was quick to lie. "Yes, Great Spirit. I do all those things. I am good and kind. Everyone knows it." The spirit's eyes glowed brighter. "Do not lie to me, child. I see beyond your words. Your heart is full of envy. Still, since you insist, I will give you a gift. But remember, what the Spirit gives is a reflection of the heart that receives it." Glory smiled greedily. She was sure she had succeeded. The Spirit lifted her hand, and a calabash appeared on the riverbank. It was larger than Favor's, painted with red and black marks. Glory grabbed it quickly, without even saying thank you. "Go home and open it," the Spirit said quietly. Glory hurried away, her heart racing with excitement. She imagined herself feeding the village with endless food, wearing jewels finer than Favor's necklace, and being praised by all. When she reached the compound, she ran inside and placed the calabash in the middle of the hut. Favour and their mother woke up, surprised by the noise. "What is happening?" their mother asked. Glory laughed loudly. "Now I too have my blessings. Watch and see." She lifted the lid of the calabash proudly. But instead of food, a black cloud of smoke rushed out. The air grew heavy, and then snakes poured out, hissing and striking. Frogs, locusts, and crawling creatures filled the room. The calabash spilled endless filth, and a terrible smell spread. Their mother screamed and ran outside. Favour quickly grabbed a broom and tried to chase the snakes, but more kept coming. Glory shrieked and dropped the calabash, but it did not stop. The villagers heard the noise and came running with sticks and fire. They helped chase the creatures away, but their eyes turned coldly toward Glory. "What have you done?" they demanded. Shame covered Glory's face. She fell to her knees and wept. "I only wanted what my sister had. I thought the Spirit would bless me too." The villagers shook their heads. "Blessings are not won by envy. You have brought trouble upon us all." Favour stepped forward. She touched her necklace, and the crowd slowly grew calm. "Please, do not hate my sister. She has made a mistake, but she can still learn. Let us forgive her." The people murmured, but because of Favour's words and the piece of the necklace, their anger cooled. They helped clean the compound and burned the snakes and filth until the place was safe again. That night, Glory sat alone under the mango tree, her face wet with tears. Favour came and sat beside her. "Sister," Favour said softly, "do you now understand? The Spirit's gifts are not about beauty or power. They are about the heart. Greed only brings destruction." Glory buried her face in her hands. "I was foolish. I wanted honor without work. I wanted gifts without love. Forgive me, Favour." Favour hugged her sister tightly. "You are forgiven. But learn from this. True blessings cannot be forced. They come to those who live with kindness." From that day, Glory changed. She no longer mocked her sister or refused chores. Slowly, she began to help their mother, share food, and speak gently to others. The villagers noticed her change, and though they did not forget her mistake, they gave her another chance. Favour, meanwhile, continued to use her gifts for the good of all. The calabash fed the hungry, the necklace healed quarrels, and her wisdom guided the village. Under her influence, peace and prosperity filled the land. And whenever children asked about the river, the elders told them the story. The Spirit of the river gives gifts, but only to those with pure hearts. Favour received blessings because of her kindness, but Glory received curses because of her greed. Let us never forget, the heart you carry will always decide the gift you receive. The river flowed on, calm and eternal, carrying with it the lessons of love, humility, and truth. And so, the tale of Favour and Glory was told from generation to generation, reminding all that the greatest gift is not power or riches, but a good heart. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.